Welcome back to the Digital Illusion Podcast, where we discuss topics like the only way that I can get out of debt is by getting in a Mr. Beast video, so Mr. Beast, please just give me money.
Give us $1.
Give us $1 for every time we say Mr. Beast, so we're at least
Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast.
We're gonna do one of those live streams on TikTok where somebody just keeps like saying a word over and over again until they get up to like 1,000. But every time somebody donates like $1, it gets jumped back like 20.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But we'll do that with Mr. Beast. Yeah, every time Mr. Beast donates $1, then
every time he donates $1, we spin around one time. And we say, stand in the circle and you can't leave.
Thanks, Mr. Beast. I zoned out. What are we talking about?
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast. Hey, I totally zoned out. Justin.
Brennan.
We should, oh. It's Halloween.
And so am I.
Are you spooky enough, Justin?
Ah!
Well, we'll find out in just a moment while we get on into our news segment. All right. Well, last week we brought up the new subject of Helena Taylor. Justin, we've gotten some updates that you are very much aware of. So let's talk about the controversy with the whole Bayonetta 3 situation. So as of right now, like I think it's basically confirmed. So like it's pretty much confirmed.
She went on like a nine Twitter tweet thread of pretty much saying that she manipulated everyone with her videos. And they actually offered her $4,000 for a cameo
after
like an hour of her time. After she turned down the role of getting like $4,000 per session, which is way more than the usual voice actor.
All right, I have it right here. As I posted my 3-part video thread, this is a quote from Helena Taylor's Twitter. I explained that their first offer was too low. That offer was $10,000 total. Whole game, okay? That's actually, I mean, like, when we compare it to, like, the weekly earnings of, say, Charles Martinet, the guy who voices Mario, that's more than what he's earning a week. Like, $2,000 more. And then, remember, this is a $450 million franchise, not counting merchandise. Then I wrote in Japanese to that name. I'm going to put it up because I can't say it. Dumb. She basically messaged the game director asking what she was worth, which is a bitchy move, first of all.
Yeah.
You don't ask somebody what they're worth. Like what you are worth.
It's kind of like a self-conceited thing.
Because then if you go too low, then that makes you the bad person. And if you go too high, then you might be like losing out way more money than you really should be. So she was basically saying, I thought that as a creative he would understand, replying that how much he valued my contribution to the game and how much the fans wanted me to voice in the game. So from that point, she was offered an extra $5,000. So she's now up to $15,000 for the whole game. So she declined that. She doesn't really bring it up, but the whole controversy behind this is She was asking for a 6-figure salary for this.
Yeah.
She's up to $15,000. Turns that down. Offered $4,000 to make the cameo appearance. And that's where we get the whole video of like saying boycott Bayonetta 3 and just donate that money to charity. Which, I mean, like, I see that's where I can't tell if that's genuine, like, if we're just getting lies on both sides at this point.
Yeah,
Or
I feel like it has to do something though with like a legal issue where they probably came after her and said you need to take that down for spreading lies, or we're gonna go after you for
way more than you're gonna actually get paid for the game.
yeah, and what's that term called though?
Defamation?
Defamation. Yeah, they were probably gonna go after her for some defamation stuff too if she didn't drop that. So who knows? This could be the truth, could be false. I mean, the first part, she manipulated all of us into thinking she was in the right, obviously, and we were wrong. So
She then went on to say, they offered me a flat fee to voice some lines for $4,000. Any other lies such as 4,000 for 5 sessions are total fabrications, which, I mean, that's what she said from her own mouth.
Yeah.
So I guess somebody was just deep faking.
Yeah.
There were not extensive negotiations. I've also been informed of ridiculous fictions, such as I asked for $250,000. I'm a team player, and I was just asking for a fair living wage in line with the value that I bring to the game.
A fair living wage at $250,000.
I guess, yeah. See, that's
Most
the thing.
of us don't even make $50,000 a year. Like,
In the same situation, we still don't even know, like, how much, like, most game, like, voices make.
yeah.
You know, but here's the thing. She said she was paid a shockingly low total of $3,000 for the first game. In total, I guess.
Wow.
A little bit more for the second. And I guess she just ignored that the first time because she just really wanted to voice Bayonetta. Honestly, there's fishy bits on each side. Yeah. But I think at this point it's kind of fair to say that Helena kind of fucked up just by not giving all the information right off the bat and letting this all come out later.
Yeah, it's all, I would say it's pretty much all on her for just completely manipulating and even admitting to manipulating. I think that's all around just very psychotic.
It's bad. I mean, like, I was reading a bunch of, like, comments on people making videos about the whole situation, and most people are just really upset about the fact of, like, she's now kind of ruined the chance for any other, like voice actor who is actually getting underpaid, who is suffering really bad with, like, people trying to pull off bullcrap moves like this, you know?
Yeah.
Her lies are just making it harder for everyone else.
It only takes a person to ruin it, man. I mean, you see that all the time with place of work or place of fun, just anything. Anyone ruins something. And it takes one person to just completely change that for everybody. So, thank you, Helena, for kind of being a dick.
Yeah. Whether she is telling the truth now, like, I don't know how many people are actually supporting her now. Whether, you know, she is telling the truth now, I don't think it matters at this point, because you're kind of already in the wrong just for trying to not bring up the actual, like, what you were actually going to get paid. First of all, you know, $15,000 for a game is actually really great. I mean,
yeah,
like,
I would definitely not have turned that down.
So what? You're, like, probably getting $1,000 a day if you worked, like, 15 days. $15,000.
Yeah.
And you're probably working a lot less than 15 days. I don't know how long it takes to voice characters in a game.
Yeah.
But they really try and get that done fast because, I mean, like...
They gotta do everything.
I mean, with the first Bayonetta game, I think we talked about it. It was only like a 6-hour game.
Yeah, something like that.
So, I mean, like, what, you're spending 6 hours of your day, or maybe just even a full day just punching out 6 hours of lines?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know if we'll ever truly get to the bottom of it. I think what we have now is probably the furthest we'll get to it. She missed out on a third game. I don't know if $15,000 is low, but I mean, if you got $3,000 for the first game and a little bit more for the second game, and you were fine with those wages, $15,000 is a pretty good jump.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good jump, and for the first game to be the second game to be a little bit more than the first game, and then the third game where she claimed it was 4,000, you know?
Yeah.
That's such a huge jump. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't see where she would be in the right in this situation unless she was being told what to say, but I really doubt that that's happening, so
yeah.
All around, it's just a shitty situation, so
just be honest and don't go bitching on Twitter. Twitter's a horrible place.
Yeah, it's full of scum.
It is disgusting. The things I have seen on Twitter. There's no regulation. There's no regulation on Twitter. There's none. That's how I figured out that Howie Mandel had tried posting a picture of someone's prolapsed anus on TikTok.
Yeah. Good move, but a little weird.
It's really interesting how the germaphobe of like the celebrity world was just posting like really disgusting content like that.
Yeah, unless he was like, I think he was genuinely curious.
I don't know what's up. He was. I saw the video. Man. I saw the video. He was spouting off about how it was like he doesn't know if this is like a new symptom of COVID. It's like, where did COVID come into this? This is a man's
think about
asshole.
It, dude. Think about it, bro. I mean, he is the germaphobe, man. So if any sort of germ and he's like actually concerned, it's just another reason to have anxiety about something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's okay. We all know that Howie's just being held against his will in his own home,
right?
Allegedly. Allegedly. All right. Well, let's move on into games that we've been playing recently. All right, well, we're here talking about some games that we've been playing recently. Justin, what have you been playing recently?
I played through the Modern Warfare 2 campaign.
All of it?
All of it.
Wow, they really.
I
thought they were only gonna. I thought they were only gonna like release like a bit of the campaign, but I didn't know they were just.
No, yeah, it's full campaign. It was fun. Some parts seemed a little annoying, kind of dry, but honestly it was just a fun gameplay experience. Gunplay really well. I haven't played the beta for the multiplayer, and I mean full launch is on Thursday, so Thursday as of today. So yeah, I mean all around it looks like it's going to be a very good game in all around, especially with the PvP multiplayer stuff. But yeah, I've been playing that. I've been playing a little bit of Phasmophobia. Hopefully we got more of that coming soon. Because me and the twins, we're going to be getting that all together, and we'll be doing some videos that way. Hopefully soon, probably within the next 2 weeks. It's going to miss Halloween, but it's okay. And then lastly, I've been obviously grinding 7 Days to Die.
Awesome. I currently... Well, I mean, like, I haven't been home for, like, the past 3 days. So I've only had my Switch to entertain me. So I've been doing a lot of Animal Crossing. A lot of actually Banjo and Kazooie. Really
Oh,
enjoying that one. Some Mario Odyssey, restarted that one. A lot of just back and forth with games. I also forgot to mention this in the news segment, but Gotham Knights came out. I haven't played it, but it's bad. It's bad.
yeah.
Um,
People have already been only complaining about how dry and boring it is. Charlie Moist Critical on Twitch,
mhm.
Penguin Zero on YouTube. He does a lot of stuff. He has millions of subscribers, whatever. And he said he is literally like, there's no way he can push through that game to play it anymore.
The
So
story looks alright, but I mean, from what I've heard, it's just like filled with a bunch of cringy dialogue. I mean, for one, I think they just got lazy when it came to design. I mean, the suits for everybody seem like they are pretty good. Like, I like some
Mhm.
of their alternate suits, but all the enemies, have you noticed that anytime you see a clip of that game, it's like every single enemy is wearing a skin tight tracksuit?
Yeah,
Why is that? Why did they? I mean, like that is their favorite design for this entire game. Is that they every
I have
character
no
has to
idea.
at least have one tracksuit in their gallery. It's
Yeah,
so weird.
I think it's just weird asset management, bro. I think there's just a lot of stuff that goes into that game that no one has any idea what's going on, so they just pull random assets and they use it over and over again. I
Everything,
understand it, but like your game sucks.
every review for it has basically been saying like it's a game. I mean,
Yeah, I want to look up the actual like IGN rating or something.
it was a 5.
It was.
Yeah, I think Game Rant might have given it a. There was some kind of game thing that I follow. They gave it like a 4 out of 10. It's
On Metacritic, it's got a 69%.
Yeah, see, it's like average for a
Nice.
game.
49% from PC Gamer. Yeah, 5 out of 10 for IGN. It's ridiculous, man.
I
It's kind of just sad to see that this is what we're getting out of like almost AAA games. Like,
I know that it's not in the Arkham series, but when you have all those games and you're clearly like using that as a template with an RPG like element to it, like how do you fuck it up that bad? Like I don't even understand. It had the template and it chose to like completely scrap that template.
the graphics are just so
They're terrible.
mobile
Somebody
game.
somebody compared it to Uncharted 3, I think, for the
Mhm.
PS3. Exact. In fact, Uncharted looked better.
That's what's sad, man. We shouldn't have to expect this from gaming companies that do this kind of stuff, man. I don't understand why they don't make anything or they don't listen or I don't know, man. It's ridiculous, bro.
It is. I've already heard that they're possibly going to like outside of the story element, I've heard that they're going to make they're gonna push out a 4-player free to play co-op.
Hmm.
So basically probably just allowing people to do all the free roam stuff for free, and then any kind of story stuff, if you want to do that, you'd have to purchase the actual game, or you just wait until it's on Game Pass. Everybody has basically been saying that this game makes the Marvel Avengers game look like a masterpiece. And that was bad.
Which is saying something.
that
Like,
was that was bad.
yeah, dude, that was a dry ass game, man.
I do want to try it just because I want to know how bad it is. Because like it's so back and forth on like, so I'm mainly getting a lot of this information about everything that happens in the game from TikTok. And so I'll either see absolute garbage gameplay, or I'm like seeing people having the time of their lives saying it's the best Batman game they've ever played. I'm like, it's so weird seeing both sides of it.
Yeah.
it's especially when it comes to the fact of like most, it really just depends on the person, because most of these things, it's like, this is the best game ever. It's the exact same clip of somebody who was saying that it was the worst, you know?
Yeah.
Video games.
I think there's just like a weird. There's always going to be the gaming communities. We talked about that, and I think there's just this weird diehard fans for DC stuff. Anything, I mean, which is going to be all around for any sort of franchise. But when there's games like this that come out and that they're this bad, I think it's honestly a what is the word? I can't think of words lately, man. Denial, I guess.
Oh,
it's just kind of a denial
sure.
thing where it's just like, oh, it's good, please.
Warner Brothers,
if they tell it to themselves enough that they'll actually believe it.
Warner Brothers themselves as a company is clearly in denial.
Yeah.
They think that they could just get away with anything they want with DC, to the point of like, most DC stuff is now like just trying to be as meta as possible. Of like just breaking the fourth wall, as if they can make their entire franchise a Deadpool comic.
Yeah.
I mean, they totally ruined one of their only good DC show.
DC.
They ruined one of their best DC shows. That being fucking Teen Titans. That was a great show when I was younger. Then they made it all like child friendly, but then it's not even for kids anymore. It's not even a kids show. It's just an entire show that makes fun of DC and Marvel. Like, they have Stan Lee cameos in DC movies now. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's sad, to say the least, dude. A lot of entertainment lately has just been very poorly made, managed, controlled. Mm-hmm. So
you think you can, I mean, like, there's obviously stuff that works when you put in little effort. You can see that obviously it just works. I mean, I think most major companies are looking at YouTubers just clearly throwing money at it, and somehow it works, even though they clearly didn't put any effort into this, and they're like, we can do that. It's like, yeah. No, it's completely different. This is YouTube.
I'm assuming they look at like indie developers, bro. Just indie developers that come out with just some game banger, dude, that's so good and everyone's playing it. Even what is it, Vampire Survivors right now?
Yes! Yes! That one's on Game Pass!
Dude, I don't get it. It's literally just basic assets with a tiny roguelike experience, but everyone's playing it for some stupid reason. And it doesn't make any sense as to why. But it was a hit banger.
I know, and the stuff is clearly ripped off of Castlevania.
100%.
All of those assets are clearly Castlevania assets.
So it just makes you wonder, like, should we go into this indie developer meta where all these companies just drop everything? Also, all the Halo Infinite stuff, dude, it's just so sad. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think, Brennan, what we should do is we should do a Halo funeral where we host the Halo funeral or something.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Thank you all for coming. We're going to relive some of the best moments of Halo and remember what the fuck happened.
Yeah. There's been a couple good videos out about just kind of the whole lifespan about Halo, but I really think Halo, it's time we put that to death. We execute it. We get a guillotine, bro. We just cut it all off. We take off Master Chief's helmet and then we face fuck him. I want to go all in.
I mean, hell, Halo 3 ended off with like a cliffhanger, probably because of the fact that Bungie thought they could continue the story, and then, you know,
actually, I think it had to do with, Bungie was done with Halo, right? And I think Microsoft was the ones that were like, you need to do this.
You're not done.
You need to do this. And that's why they made Halo Reach. Halo Reach was kind of this push from Microsoft as their like last game kind of thing, which
Like
absolutely
Last
was a banger.
Oh yeah, it's one of the best Halos.
So Bungie knows what they're doing with games. I mean, everyone's like, "Oh, I wish Bungie would have kept it." I just don't. I don't think Bungie would have had the love anymore because they were done with it. They said Halo 3 was the end.
It's sad to say that it's like it would have continued on the way it is now. Maybe a little different, but like it definitely would have continued on the same way of like they don't even care anymore what they're doing. They just think if you throw something out in the content, like by Halo, whatever, by Halo 7, you know, they're not even going to have a story mode anymore. It's just going to be a multiplayer, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you can barely say that Halo Infinite had like a campaign because they clearly just threw like an open world and then threw some missions in there, threw some cutscenes. They kind of treated it like Destiny with a Halo. Like
they tried it, and I think I really think they were looking at Destiny as like a thing where it's like, oh, Bungie's making this game. Why don't we try to replicate it in any way possible?
It's because 343 has had an original idea. They took over Bungie's work, and they are still trying to do it.
And they've just done such a shitty job. Like, it's fine for what it is. I mean, it is what it is. I'm saying it's not like fine, but it is what it is with the game. And I think we're gonna hold the funeral. I think it's time we let it die.
Yeah.
That could be an unpopular opinion. I'm sure people want it to keep going, but I think a lot of people are also in the boat of Halo is done.
Yeah, maybe they could. I think they have a lot of good ideas, but if it's just the fact that like Halo 4 came out, ended off with a cliffhanger. Halo 5 came out, ended off with a cliffhanger, which kinda had like the thing is everything is just slightly they set up huge cliffhangers. 343 that is, sorry. 343 just sets off huge cliffhangers for their games, but then they only take one fraction of that cliffhanger into their next game, and then they drop a whole new cliffhanger. It's like you're trying to span off 3 completely different games and trying to connect them like they are supposed to make a sense of a story.
Dude, and I 100% think that 343 is going to get so stupidly desperate is they're going to do the whole Marvel and DC rhetoric, I guess, where they're going to do the multiverse. It's their story. They're going to bring in like past shit and just throwing everything at the fan. There's going to be Pink Chief. there's going to be everything, bro. I think they're going to go off the rails and they're going to try to do something and it's going to be completely ridiculous.
Hey, this is the multiverse saga of our, generation. Everybody's got to do a multiverse.
Because everyone's just trying to replicate Marvel, and Marvel sucks. But
I mean, say what you will, they know how to set a trend.
Yes, they do.
Yes, yeah.
And they can keep writing the same story for everything, and people will still go watch it.
Me.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that was the games that we've been playing recently. Kind of spouted off back into like just a bit of a side discussion, but like it needed to be said. It would have been if I didn't bring it up in the news segment, it would have just been brought up there. This was inevitable. All of this stuff needed to be talked about.
Speaking of Marvel and inevitable.
Justin.
Brennan.
We are here. Well, it's the spooky season, and who better to talk to you about I like the orange. That's a good nice touch. Who better than a couple of guys who can't handle horror games at all to talk about horror games?
Yep.
So we're just gonna talk about some horror games. Basically, whatever comes to mind is gonna happen here.
Can I start it off?
Absolutely. It'll help.
Furry Cyberfucker. That is one of the scariest games.
Is that like on the front page of Steam right now?
I don't know if it is anymore, but it was for a second. Damn, I've never been so scared.
That is actually a pretty accurate, because it's scaring me how often I am seeing Steam bring up these random freaking games that are like, they have no regulation on this, and it is terrifying. I mean,
regulation.
sorry, I drink soda and my mouth is sticky.
It's stinky.
Yeah.
Well, no regulation anymore.
I remember for a little bit, this was trending on like Steam, like front page on like their sales, and it was like furry Hitler fucker or something like that. Yeah, it was really weird. I'll put up a screenshot right here in the middle, but it's
right.
No, over here a little bit. So I'll put this.
It's not going to be right here?
No, I could put it over your face if you want. I mean, like, I'll just... No, scoot a little bit. Oh, nope. Bring it. Bring this way. This way. You're going the wrong... Okay, whatever. I'm gonna have fun with that. Yeah, so... I mean, like, I think they need to put some more regulation on there. Steam definitely has a bunch of great, like, games, and it's terrifying that is what's coming up. Especially, anybody who might get offended by that, you know. Well, I guess I will, bring up a game that I remember playing recently. SCP Containment Breach. The original one. I am just absolutely terrified of that game. I mean, I brought it up. I think it was the last episode. Sorry.
Look over your shoulder.
I brought it up in the... Shut up.
Why the fuck are we matching?
Are you wearing an Esther shirt?
Mine just says the N-word.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Well, yeah, SCP. I mean, it's a really nice classic game. I mean, I don't even remember when this game was created. It's super old, and it still holds up. I mean, like, everything is really stiff and rigid. I mean, there is the one, like, most commonly known SCP who just, like, snaps your neck, and he, like, teleports in front of you if you blink or whatever. He literally just stands like this all day. Like, and it's the most terrifying thing ever. I mean, if you watch my video, I literally haven't continued because of how much was happening. I mean, you have hundreds of different monsters that all behave in their own very specific way, and in a completely randomly generated, like, building, and you have to figure out how to understand every single monster and make sure you don't get too close to one, because if you get too close to one and you already have another chasing you, it's basically impossible to escape because they both react differently. It's a terrifying game. I mean, I can't handle. I'm too much of a bitch. I really want somebody to be there playing with me, so that if I can't, I need somebody to just take control of the game, because I'm like, I got scared by an interaction that wasn't even a monster. It was some, like, body falling from the ceiling. I dropped my controller.
Yeah, the thing is, like, every single time I play 7 Days to Die Row and I'm outside digging by myself, I literally sit there and I dig for a sec.
Yeah, you just hear
I go back to digging.
Like the dog growling.
Dude, no. If I hear a dog, bro, I shut down. I run, I scream. I can't do it, bro.
Yeah.
Games are scary. I'm a little baby.
Yeah. It's freaky. I'm really excited because Xbox just released every Amnesia game on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. I loved those games, like watching those games being played, and the fact that I actually have the opportunity to play them now, I'm like, dude, this is amazing. I think Amnesia is... I think Amnesia is actually probably the next step from the SCP, because it's another game where like a bunch of different monsters are all surrounding. You don't have one enemy, and that's terrifying. Especially because there's one enemy that is literally invisible and you can only see their footsteps in the water coming after you. So if you touch the water, you're like dead. It's just insane. Do you have any like horror games that you like at least tried to get through? Because I know you're not a horror game guy yourself.
No, I'll avoid it unless I can't. As in like Phasmophobia, it's called me for a while. A lot of friends want me to play it. I'm not really big into the horror scene, man. I really am a little baby when it comes to things like that. Tiny things, tiny little jump scares scare the shit out of me. So when I remember we played Outlast back, oh my gosh, when was that? That was years ago. We played Outlast, bro. Just playing that, I cannot hold that controller for more than like 10 minutes.
I was really mean. I don't know if I ever told you, but I set that to the hardest difficulty when we played.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's why it was so intense, because it was on the hardest difficulty. It is terrifying on normal difficulty.
Yeah.
I think normal difficulty is a lot more like, ooh, scary, but hard difficulty is like, you have to focus a lot more into not messing up, because normal difficulty, they'll let you make a couple slip-ups on the way, but you'll most likely escape. Hard difficulty will not let you slip up. You gotta know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's one of the only games I've actually like made it through, other than like watching my brother play Resident Evil 7, which wasn't scary.
Yeah, it was an action game more than anything. I think once Resident Evil 7 and 8 came up, I think that's kind of why I lost more interest in playing 8, was because I had so much interest in Lady D as a character, and then I got to the point where you kill her, and I literally... Exactly. I would, Justin. I know what you're raising your eyebrow to. I would. And hard. No,
set her pussy to hard mode.
I think it would have been awesome if she was just the main antagonist, and the fact that she's the one of the first like main bosses that you kill. Like, I just had no more effort to play it, which is kind of why I canceled it. Another reason why is because, you know, I was only borrowing the game, but I still have a lot of opportunities to play through it, and I just haven't, because I've just lost interest in the game.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
They're action games. There's a couple of jump scares, but that's only just because, like, of your own fault. Like, you walk through a doorway and you just weren't expecting an enemy there, you know?
Yeah.
But,
I don't even think I've beaten a single Five Nights at Freddy's game.
You have. You have.
You have.
No, you and me played through Five Nights at Freddy's 2 together. I know that for sure.
Really?
Because I played a bunch of Five Nights at Freddy's with you on my iPad when they came out.
Yeah, I remember when we were playing them. I just don't remember beating them.
I think you and me both beat the second one, at least, because I couldn't play through the first one. The first one was way too real for me. The second one had a lot more jump scares, but it was easier. It was easier than the first one. I still haven't beaten the first one to this day. And as time went on, each Five Nights at Freddy's game got a little bit less and less scary, as much as they tried to make it scary, but nothing beats the first, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that's just because the animatronics in the first game were just supposed to look like animatronics, and then as each game got further along, they wanted to look less and less like an animatronic, and it's like, it's not even scary anymore. There's nothing like freaky about these things. They're just toys at this point.
Yeah, it wasn't scary anymore. It wasn't even that scary in number 2, because they made them really soft, and it wasn't as like gritty, and the graphics were a little bit better. Like, it didn't work as well because it wasn't like just frame by frame picture kind of stuff.
Exactly. So. Yeah. So that's why I'm pretty positive you and me at least beat the second one. Um, I think. Let's see. Well, you and me definitely played through Slenderman a lot.
Oh yeah, the Slenderman games.
I mean, all of those we got through as much as like we actually had access to. We played basically any Slenderman game that we could. Because when we were bored, we would just scroll through the App Store and figure out which Slenderman game was free at the time. We played through the 8 pages, which was a blast. Very scary. I think the best one is Slender the Arrival, which
Super fun.
oh, so good. Especially because it wasn't just Slenderman who was the enemy. It was also running around from the proxy enemy.
Yeah, the
So
little bird, dude. Yeah, those are the parts that scare me, dude. It's just running from those little things.
it was too real in these games.
Oh,
Why you judge? I have enough going on in my life, man. I don't need this.
yeah. Well, I can give you more.
Can I have it?
Yeah, here you go.
That was just for YouTube. So yeah, I mean, like we got through. Oh, you know what? You probably don't remember this because we did not go very far with it. But do you remember Ostrich Films? We started a series on Alien Isolation.
Very briefly, yeah.
It's probably why the reason why you don't remember is because that was one of the things that got on the chopping board when I went and deleted a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But we went through that with, I think it was you, me, your brother Steven, and Austin, who all decided to like do a whole series on it because I think that was around the time that we played, like we had your brother play through, Resident Evil 7, and we found out it's like really fun to just watch somebody play a horror game in a group of people.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, we played through a little bit of Alien Isolation, but we never made it that far. I think we got up to, like, the first official alien kill, and then the series ended there.
Yeah.
I still need to beat that game, because it's still a really fun game, and they have a bunch of DLC for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I bought all the DLC.
Support or like?
Well, no, it wasn't that it's got a lot of support still. It's just that, like, a bunch of DLC came out not too long after it was released, and I just happened to purchase the bundle for it. You know, so I just have like all the DLC. You're good. I just happen to have all the DLC, as well as like, I think there was like one story DLC mission, and then there was one where you actually kind of play as Ripley from the first movie. So, yeah, it's pretty fun. Pretty fun. What other horror games do we need
I've been
to
trying to
discuss?
think of some more that I've played, but I can't think of a lot because, like I said, I just don't play a lot of them.
It's true. I mean, like, we don't even have to bring up like specifically horror games
Oh,
because I
good.
remember we've also wow.
Get you scared, dude.
Because remember we also like grew up with a lot of games that were not supposed to be scary but were. Like Majora's Mask, for example.
Oddly scary, yeah.
It's weirdly scary. It still kind of gives me anxiety most points.
Was oddly not good enough for you? You had to interject weirdly.
Did I say weirdly? I thought I said oddly.
No, I said oddly. You said weirdly, dude.
I guess it wasn't good enough for me. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. I mean, just with all the mask transitions, I think we talked about it a little bit in a past episode. All the mask transitions. Happy Mask Salesman still kind of freaks me out. He's a weird dude.
His instant emotion changing. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember like all the creepypastas because of Majora's Mask.
Yeah. Get inspired quite a bit.
Yeah. Remember Ben Drowned?
Yep.
All because of that really creepy statue of Link when you could make the statues with the song.
Mm-hmm.
Which I completely forgot about because I've only beaten that game once and I had to use a guide the entire
I
time.
love that game.
Like I said, if it wasn't for the fact that like it has the time limit, I would say that's over Ocarina of Time for me, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a good example. I guess it's not really scary, like creepy, but it definitely would scare the absolute piss out of somebody. Did you ever play through Banjo-Kazooie and keep bothering bottles? Like at the very beginning of the game. So
No.
so there's the whole like Spiral Mountain level where it's basically your like tutorial world before you go into Gruntilda's castle.
Yeah.
So in the very beginning you have the option to accept Bottle's help with your tutorial, or you could just figure it out yourself. And if you choose to figure it out yourself, he will just be a total bitch about it. And so anytime you go and talk to him, he will refuse to help you. But I just found this out like recently that if you kept like bothering him, he would say that's it, and then he would start saying like deleting save like file in 3, 2, and I was like, for like half a second I'm like, oh my gosh, is this actually gonna delete my game? And I'm like, oh, I'm on Switch, I have a save file already. But I'm like, oh my gosh, if I wasn't on Switch, I would genuinely be thinking like I just totally wasted like hours of gameplay.
Wow.
It's just
speaking of Banjo-Kazooie though, bro, like I was thinking about it, I still got like weird feelings from it because when you lose, when Gruntilda laughs and you have that cutscene, that scared the shit out of me.
Just like
for some reason, just that whole vibe. Yeah, dude, it scared me, bro.
It's like,
and then even in Donkey Kong, same thing. Donkey Kong 64.
It does that in Donkey Kong?
Where if you lose, you see the King K. Rool stuff.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah, that stuff scared me, bro. As a kid, bro, whenever that stuff comes out, I like plug my ears or I would close my eyes. Just like I didn't handle that kind of stuff, dude.
Oh my gosh, creepy music always affected me. We brought this up. We brought this up in a past episode, but I'm gonna bring it up again because Halloween. That Disney Scenic game, bro. That music, I don't know. I really don't know if it's like. I'm afraid to play the music because of the fact that it's Disney. Because I'm pretty sure you're allowed like 10 seconds before it's copyright, but I don't want to risk it because Disney doesn't like you taking their stuff ever.
Disney doesn't like you.
Disney just doesn't like you.
Yeah.
So
just like everyone else in the world.
Just Google that music and just think how that could possibly give somebody major anxiety. I don't know. It was supposed to be whimsical. It was supposed to be whimsical, but every time I heard it, I literally could not go to bed. But it was the best game ever. It was so fun. It's so freaking fun. They even had like a Harry Potter scene in it, which I'm pretty sure is the one that you had. I'm censoring that.
I was just yawning, dude.
Yeah, you're right.
Harry Potter, yeah, we had the Harry Potter one.
Did that have like just Harry Potter music playing mostly?
I think so.
Yeah, I'd imagine they would probably just have Harry Potter music. It's just, I don't know. I feel like the people who made that game just had the weirdest time understanding like music transitions. Music boner.
Music boner, dude.
Music transitions, because there would just be times where like audio would just cut out in the pure silence while you're just sitting there thinking about like this scene that already like the audio is creepy because it's like a scene from Flubber and it's out of context, and like for some they also bass boost the audio really loud. I think the main reason I had this problem was because that game was exactly that. It was unbelievably loud. And to this day, if I like hear a motorcycle driving by me while my window's down, and it's like those assholes who do the thing to their motorcycle to make it louder, it ruins my day. I get so anxious by that. The loud noise really messes with me. I definitely have a sound sensitivity.
Oh, I do too. And speaking of which, in 7 Days, I go back to it because I'm playing it a lot.
I mean, it's a scary game.
Yeah, cutting down a tree in that game scares me because it's so loud. Like the audio gain from cutting down a tree is so loud. Same with the auger in the game when you're drilling something, especially metal. That thing gets so ear fucky.
It is loud.
So like it's so loud you can't hear nothing else. So I always think something's coming after me when there's something loud that's happening.
Well, especially with
I just
the auger.
get really scared. Yeah, man.
You can't hear anything coming after you. So you're just randomly sitting there. You're already having a hard enough time listening to that giant drill, and then all of a sudden you just get slapped in the back of the head by the big fat zombie.
A great way to shit your pants right there.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, zombie games. How have we not talked about any zombie games? Because those are we got some pretty bad scares with that. I mean, Left 4 Dead being the biggest one that we played.
Oh my gosh, dude, yes. Left 4 Dead. That was some childhood, bro. I remember like trying to force you to play that with me because you showed it to me. I loved it and I wanted to come over and play it so much.
I to this day I still have a hard time playing through the exact same game so many times.
Yeah.
Like every single day. I think man, I still have a hard time with the witch in that game.
Bro, she's quick.
It's
quick and loud. It's quick and loud, dude.
Exactly. Well, because have you ever just like, I think the biggest problem I have is like, oh man, I'm already like on high alert just by the fact that like I hear her crying. And then you were like, shoot, where is she? And then you open up the door and then she's there and you weren't expecting her to be there and you accidentally trigger it. The accidental trigger is what is terrifying about the witch.
It sounds like Twitter. There's a lot of accidental triggers going on there.
It's very true. It is very true.
But yeah, dude, the witches in that game are scary as hell, man. A lot of those things where you're just getting flooded by a bunch of stuff, chased. That was the one thing in that game that scares me the most is just getting chased. So when I'm able to just sit at a location and just shoot, I'm fine. But it's like the running portions where you literally have just the horde following you and it's not going to stop until you reach the end. That stuff scares me, bro.
You know what gives me anxiety sometimes?
Seeing me.
No,
naked.
life. I'm joking.
No.
There's a game mode on Halo games. Like, it's not really specific to any Halo game.
What?
But no. Have you ever played the game modes? Well, yes, it's Flood. But have you played the game modes where it's an obstacle course and you're getting chased by the enemy team who is Flood?
Yeah, I think so. I think
oh my gosh, dude. They're fun. They are fun, but they are so scary because turning around slows you down. But if you don't turn around, you run the risk of...
You'll fall to the ground.
You run the risk of... God damn it. You run the risk of getting hit in the back, and then, you know, that little jump scare of, like, you weren't expecting to get hit, and you just did. And now you gotta be a zombie.
It's like it's so weird because it's like your body almost anticipates it getting hit itself, so you kind of just feel like
you feel it on the back of your neck.
Yeah, dude, I hate that, especially with Phasmophobia, bro. When something's going in your ear, like, and it's like all of a sudden your lights are flickering, something's actually starting to chase you, bro. I can feel that shit, and so I'm like, I get like these weird reactions in my body, bro, where I just tense the fuck up.
Phaz is really an interesting game. It's the only game that, like, I It's the only horror game that I kind of want to like constantly pick up. Yet I
It's
can't
'cause
play for long because I get too scared.
the thing is with that game, what sets it apart from a lot of games is the interactivity of it, where you are actually engaging in conversation with a ghost, right?
Exactly.
You are talking to it. So therefore your immersion into the game gets that much more intense. Cuz it's like you are talking to something, it's responding to you. That's scary in itself because it's unpredictable. It's an
Hmm.
unpredictable force. So therefore that
Exactly.
game gets like 10 times scarier, which I will never play in VR unless we were big, because it'll
Like
scare me so much I will probably faint.
I want to play it in VR so bad just to know, you know? Because nothing, I mean honestly, horror is very intense and really thrilling like genre of video game. Immersive horror just takes it to a whole new level. I mean, I tried Five Nights at Freddy's in VR because
Mhm.
they released one of them, like they released this Help Wanted game, which kind of was its own thing, but then they also made it so that all the old games were playable in VR.
Mm.
So I played through Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I think. Oh my gosh, dude. I almost threw my Quest. Actually, it wasn't even mine. That's the only reason I didn't throw it. It was because it was somebody else's Quest, and I almost hucked that thing. Because
Yeah.
it's there. It's freaking right there. I have
Yeah.
never once gotten terrified while playing through Resident Evil 4, but I have it on VR, and the fact I'm like, it's a third person game. You're already gonna get like because somebody snuck up behind you, and then you turn around in VR and he's like, and he's got a chainsaw, and it's like, and I'm like, you know, it's bad, and I've played a few horror games in VR. I played this one called Terminus.
Mm.
It's dumb. I mean, it's not a horror game. There's only one point where it actually got really. There was two points where it got like really freaky,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It was all right. I didn't finish it. But it's multiplayer, so it's kind of fun. Yeah, that's how I play. That's how I played it through the first time. Was I was playing with my old roommate.
Cool.
Um, so yeah, I played that. I played Five Nights at Freddy's. I really want to try Phasmophobia just because of the fact of like I could like easily just go in there and I'm already feeling immersed enough just by talking with them, setting up like ghost boxes and stuff like that. I think it would just be so freaking fun,
But
but so
scary.
scary. I kind of want to just airlink my Quest and see if I could just play Phasmophobia just to
Yeah.
know, you know.
If
And
you do it, I'll do it.
we'll talk about this after the podcast because
Okay.
I'm tempted. I'm very tempted just to even
Yeah.
at least experience it once because that's how much I actually really enjoy that game. It's like it's scary, but I want to keep playing.
Yeah.
Um, gosh, I mean, like I have a really weird thing with horror games. You know, like I want to avoid it, but at the same time, I want that thrill.
Yeah, and well, that's why horror is such a big genre, especially with movies and stuff, right? Is people like that feeling of just like being scared, but it's also I think we like it because we also have that weird false sense of security where it's like we know it's not real, but it is real in the moment kind of thing, but you know you're going to be okay. So I think there's like this back and forth like mentality with it where it's just going to get so fucky where your brain is like, yeah, I'm in this right now. I'm scared, bro. So I don't know. Horror is just an interesting concept in reality where it's just it
Yeah,
spooked. Yeah, we like it. We go back to it.
no, it is really actually an interesting concept
Like an
because
abusive relationship.
careful where you tread here.
Yeah, especially when you're hitting.
No, I think when it comes to like horror, some weirdly enough, I actually the thing is with Courtney, my beautiful girlfriend. Um,
Ew, why'd you say it like that, dude? Oh my
oh my
gosh.
gosh, but yeah, she's more terrified of scary things that are real, like that could happen. So like horror movies about slashers, those are like that pretty likely to happen. Freaking Michael Myers, you know.
Could, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah,
the possibility of it happening outweighs.
yeah. I
Yeah.
weirdly have an easier time with stuff that's real, and I have a harder time with stuff that I know for a fact is like unfathomable.
Well, yeah, because I think I'm on your page too, where it's like I can kind of handle the realish stuff, but I think what makes the unfathomable kind of thing scarier is it's that unknown factor where it's like,
Exactly.
if this could happen,
Humans are a lot more predictable than a ghost.
yeah, exactly, and
Even
that's what makes it so scary.
yeah. Even the most
So,
unpredictable like serial killers are more predictable than a ghost.
I mean, you're most likely gonna find a serial killer. How are you gonna find a ghost?
Okay, here's the thing. One of the bigger reasons why the unfathomable is like more terrifying to me is you and me have always like kind of like gotten into like ghost hunting and stuff like that.
Yes.
We've always had like at least a childish belief of it. Um I have actually had a very paranormal encounter. Like
Yeah, you
a
had it on stream where
no.
you're not.
No.
I don't want to hear it. I'm too scared.
It's terrifying. I don't the thing is that this thing that we think that we came in contact with um I don't even want to say the name of it because I've heard that like talking about it is like what gets this thing to hunt you, you know, like that's genuinely how much I like um that's how much I don't like talk about the word, at least, you know. Anytime I tell this story, it's mainly a word of caution more than like a oh, this is a scary moment that happened to me. Like I still can't like completely contemplate what happened this day,
Hmm.
and I'm so scared to the point that I still don't even say that thing's name.
What's behind you?
Don't fuck with me.
I'm freaking out myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you what I sent you in text. What I refuse to say it. I refuse to say it.
I don't even know if I want to look at it now, dude.
That's the most you'll get out of me of
Hold on.
what it is. You can say it all you want, but I refuse to say that word.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
So I can tell the story, but I'm not gonna say what it is, and anybody who's curious can make a guess on what this thing is.
Oni
Because
Plays is doing a series on this right now
oh really?
of like gaming. There's a game with it. So
So you know, hint hint, nudge nudge. So we were up by a temple here in Utah, and there's like this hiking trail. Like, it's weird. There's like this little quarry that if you walk down to the bottom of it, there's like a hiking trail that leads up into the mountains.
mhm.
So we're walking through, having a great time. You know, it gets a little bit like weird because we find this like stick hut, clearly made by somebody, but I mean it was cool rather than freaky at first. You know, we're having it's a normal freaking day, you know, it's just a nice hike and we're like, wow, we should come here a lot more often. And we keep going and it's just the weirdest thing cuz like
Yeah, there was
sudden
like dead babies and
no, suddenly this like the path we're walking on is suddenly now just like somebody clearly moved some rocks in front of it. We're like, okay, so somebody's trying to divert people. Um, the thing is that the direction where the rocks were diverting towards, in the tree line, the biggest thing is that the reason why, like, this is probably gonna turn people off from this is that I didn't get as much of the experience as the others in the group did. So we turned off, like, you look over in the direction where they were, like, leading people towards, and there's an altar in the forest. And we're like, fuck that. So my dumbass roommate was like, hey, I want to touch it. So he starts walking towards it, and we are begging him, like, get the fuck away from this altar. Like, it is literally an altar. Keep in mind, the guy who was like, I'm gonna go touch it, the reason he goes to try and go touch it, he doesn't believe in the paranormal at all. This guy's in the army. He does not believe in this at all, and nothing scares him. So he goes trying to touch it. We drag him away from this thing. And then just suddenly, like, this amazing hike just shifts dark. And we feel like we have that feeling of, like, you know, like, exactly what we were talking about with the Halo thing, like, that feeling at the back of your, like, spine, where it's like, you feel like something's there and it's about to get you. We had that. So we are now, from having a nice hike up the mountain, sprinting down the mountain. So we keep on hearing, like, little things and such happening behind us. And, like, that feeling is just right there the entire time. And we're sprinting down. And my buddy, who's in the army, turns around for, like, half of a second. And he sees, like, what he describes as, like, this reptilian creature crawling on all fours. Yeah. And he's like, you know, he's sprinting up behind us, and he's like, run! And this guy does not get freaked out over anything. So, because he's the type of guy who's like, punch first, ask questions later. And he is just, like, not even sure what he's seeing right now. And then he, like, you know, we're running down and we're getting closer and closer, and he looks back again. He's the only one who keeps looking back, because everybody, like, he's the one who looks back the most. I think another person in our group was also looking back a few times. I'm the only one who didn't officially see it. But you know, he looks back again, and the way he describes, like, whatever this thing, like, was, it is not crawling on all fours now. It is standing pretty far away, and it is a person, not, like, reptilian anymore. It's like this, like, tall black figure. And we're like,
dude, that's sensitive as fuck.
No, like, he kept trying to, like, say, is like, I don't, his, like, it wasn't, like, he kept trying to, like, describe it to us without sounding racist. Exactly that. Like, he's like, I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't, like, skin. It was just black man. Like, it was just a tall black man. I was like, just stop describing it. We know what you mean.
I don't know why people just don't say, like, silhouette.
Exactly. That's the word.
It was a tall silhouette.
Exactly. That basically what he saw. And when he saw that, like, tall silhouette, that's the moment that we stopped feeling that feeling of, like, where, like, something's right behind us, because he described it, and it was like, we were just at, like, the cusp of this entranceway, and, like, that was, like, the first moment we all felt safe enough to, like, slow down, and we were just, like, so dazed as to what just happened. And so we ran up to the car, and for the entire night, like, literally none of us could, like, speak. We were just so genuinely scared. We like locked up the doors and you know, like basically like called to any god to protect us because it was that freaky. And like we know for a fact that our buddy who's like really, the army guy, we know for a fact he isn't like joking about how afraid he was that day, because he can't hold in a joke for long. Like literally if he tries joking with you, he can't keep a straight face for more than like 2 seconds. That's why he can never trick anybody. He's such an open book. And the fact that he's like, to this day, still doesn't talk about the situation at all. Especially because we told him never to speak of it again. Basically, we just said never to speak what we think it is. We're like, this is the best answer that we can give you for what just happened. Because I looked up every kind of like possibility, like description of how he described it, and I found what I sent you in text chat, and I was like, I looked over and I was like, I think this is what it is. And I was curious because I was like, there's a specific, anybody who wants to figure out what this is, there's a specific ranch that's very famous. And we're like, I was just
Hidden Valley, right?
Hidden Valley. So the Hidden Valley Ranch is very famous in this horror story, like this creature. And so we looked it up, and that ranch was a couple hours in the direction that we were walking, like where we found this altar. So like that like basically confirmed to me what we saw. And so like ever since then, like horror, like paranormal took an extra leap over real life. Like I believe in ghosts, man. I was there. I was there when the texts were written, man. So there's the little horror story. I'm sure anybody.
I actually have one little story really quick.
Yeah, for sure.
So basically what had happened is I sat on the toilet and I shitted.
And it went woo.
No, I don't really have anything super. Well, actually, you know what? I have a couple things.
Okay.
Really short story, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
I used to have this
phlegm in your throat?
Shut up. Shut up.
We're both really coffee today. I don't know why.
I used to have like this silicone like goblin mask. Do you remember that?
Was it like
it
was more like
gray
flesh colored, right?
No, it wasn't flesh. It was like a grayish, almost zombie-like skin. Had a big nose, big ears.
I think so.
Anyway, I always felt really weird about that mask. And
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because it was in your shed, and you always like told me never to touch that thing.
So the reason for that is, I have an autistic brother, and he thinks a lot of things are just like funny. He doesn't really get like scared of things like paranormally. So what had happened was the mask was in his room, and it was under his bed. And it just rolled out and looked right at him.
Ugh.
And he was like, dude, the funniest thing just happened. It rolled out under the bed and it looked at me. And I was like, yeah.
No.
That's what it did. We're getting rid of it. So soon after that, I think we got rid of it because I was like, yeah, no. And there was no one under his bed. The mask was in his room looking at him pretty much because I saw it in the moment. After he said it, because he said he walked in, he looked at it, and then he turned around and told me. And he doesn't joke about things like that. He's not one to like fabricate a lot of things. He tells it like it is, like the way he sees it.
Well, because your brother has what was the it was Asperger's, I think it is. Like I think like mainly with that it's like I think it's more harder for people with Asperger's to really like
I don't think he has Asperger's though. I think it's just like this. I can't remember what kind it is, but I know it's a more severe type of autism.
I I mean like I've never known him to ever play a joke like literally ever.
No, ever.
He can't even
he doesn't even take jokes very well.
No, he
Like
can't.
you don't joke with him because he doesn't take it.
Exactly.
So when he was saying that kind of stuff, it's just like everything didn't really line up, and yeah, it would like roll out under his bed. Like there's no way. But that's another thing. I always felt like my basement was haunted.
Ugh.
But then one more other time is I was in that same room that he was in when I was actually living in that room when he wasn't. Every night I would hear in like someone picking up shoes and dropping them.
Is this happen to be that room in your old house where it had the like crawl space?
Yeah, the crawl space and the little cubby in the back, right, where it was supposed to look like a chimney kind of thing.
Of course, it was
So
that room.
yeah, so I swear that room is haunted. But I would hear that, and then upstairs, I would hear a bouncing ball just being dropped, just do 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 do.
It's real. I mean, like I know that most people are like, how do you even like distinguish that? Little fun fact: when you're depressed, you spend a lot of time just laying down and listening to the sounds of your house.
Yeah,
you end up getting
houses
to
make
know.
sounds, right? Like houses make sounds, but what was so distinct about that was it sounded exactly like because I used to have this window seat upstairs in the living room. It was coming from that,
Ew,
and there
like
was a
in
blank.
there.
There was a blanket on top of it, so it wouldn't have made that sound. But it was coming from that area because it was right above the
Yeah,
space
there's
that was
like
at.
literally like the only way that any like I remember this because it was only like I mean, it had the blanket and it only had like two little corners where that was possible, or it would have had to be from inside the little cubby space
Exactly.
because everything else was either that blanket or carpet. So there's no way
Mm-hmm.
that that sound could have possibly come from.
So I don't know what could have made that sound. I have a cat. I had a cat at the time, but a cat doesn't pick up a bouncing
Like
ball and
dribble
drop
up,
it.
just
No one was upstairs because I with that house it was a little bit not like old. It was like at least I think it was like 20 years old. Um, I know everyone's footsteps in that in that house.
exactly.
You could hear. I knew the exact locations that everything squeaks. So I would, sometimes I would piss off everybody in the house by just like jumping on the spot that like squeaks.
I remember that.
But
I joined you in a lot of those.
yeah, yeah, dude. So I mean, you got used to everything in your house, so you knew it. And it wasn't a big house. We did not have a big house by any means. It's a very small house. So everything just really started. I mean, I just memorized everything. I could walk through that house blindfolded or whatever, right? And know every single thing. But just hearing those things is, I mean, as a kid, I know I didn't imagine it, but it was always really strange to me. And eventually, I'm sure I just ignored a lot of that kind of stuff. But yeah, dude, those were just a couple like weird things.
No, I understand because that I mean, like I obviously used to live in a basement, and when I
Your
talked
basement
about
was fucking scary.
yeah, well, when I talked about how like I was terrified of that scene at game, it really drove me to like learn every sound in the house because I needed to understand that what I was hearing was not going to kill me. So I mean, like you get to a point where you know every motion. You can tell exactly where somebody is. Like I was like, it was a, it was like a 3-story building with a basement.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess 4-story.
Well, kind of. So
Do you count a basement as a story?
Well, yeah. So basically, the way that your house worked, though, is like you walk in the front door, and then there's like this half level to your living room, but then there was an upstairs and a basement. So technically, that level with your living room was one level because it was just like a little half step.
Yeah.
And then your basement. So it was basement, kind of like your half step middle floor, and then your main floor, which would have been 3 stories.
Okay, yeah, so 3 stories.
At least that's what
I mean, like, I was in the basement, and I was like, ugh, I need to go ask my mom something. And you just sit there and, like, close your eyes, and you just hear... And I was like, okay, my dad's in the kitchen. And then you're like...
Yep.
And then just like, oh, my mom's upstairs in the bathroom. I'm like, that... And then I'd go up, and I knew I was right. And I'm like, man, I'm really good at this. And so, like, if you hear something that you've spent so much time to the point you, like, you know somebody's footsteps, and you know when they're gonna turn into a door. Like, I eventually moved upstairs. I knew who was coming up the stairs, and just by the way that they were walking, I could tell if they were about to turn into my room, just from the way that they stepped up the top step.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was so weird. So, like...
No, you really get to know I don't know if that's for everybody. I mean, we were just full of anxiety as kids anyway. Like, we were abnormally full of anxieties, just different kinds of stuff. I mean, we obviously had differences, but, like, at that point, we got so hyper-focused where, yeah, I know exactly... I could go back to my house today and still know everyone's footsteps and what's going on. Because... it just became so rhythmic where you start to notice all the vibrations and stuff. Anyway, that's completely off just any topic.
But... I mean, no, it's like, I mean, hell, it's Halloween. We might as well tell some, like, spooky stuff. I mean, we used to have, like, I think a lot of the reason we had anxiety was because you remember we used to spend, like, hours on end, late at night, what we called spooky hours. And we would just scroll through YouTube and figure out the darkest stuff that was ever existent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know.
Scary shit, dude.
Stuff like I Feel Fantastic was a good one.
Oh. That, bro. Nope.
Definitely started my fear of mannequins.
Yeah, and my brother's one of my brothers is like not my autistic one. I'll just preface that. But he doesn't really get scared of anything. One of my brothers is Steven. We've talked about him a little bit. He doesn't get scared of a lot, but when he does get scared, you know it's scary. Because he's a very realistic person.
If that shit starts freaking him out.
Yeah, dude, because he's not a person to get scared. He does not get scared. But when something scares him, and you know it's going to be scary because it's very unsettling. He's not a person that likes to be unsettled.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of horror that he does not like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting, bro. Horror is just a really weird topic, especially horror in video games. It really sucks you in, and it really sucks you dry, you know? It just
really sucks your cock.
Your stupid little penis. But yeah, man, it's crazy. So,
well, we're up to like an hour and 25 minutes, so I think that's probably a good place to end it this time.
I think so.
Well, Justin, thank you for joining me on the spooky time. Hope to see you next week. You know, why wouldn't I? Because, you know, you're the co-host.
Unless
check out Virtually Nerdy.
I was gonna say it, but I don't wanna.
I'm curious, but I'll ask later. Check out Virtually Nerdy YouTube channel, Digital Illusion Twitter account. Check out the Twinamagins on YouTube. I think that's everything. You know, I work really hard to make this house a home, and
Woo!